All right, Sagittarius, welcome. And I hope you're ready to take a look at everything that's coming through for the month of February. Some really exciting messages to uncover today. And it's also a great day to meet. We're meeting here in the US on Dr. Martin Luther King Day. So we'll do, at the end of this reading, a meditation for peace. And whether it's peace in your life or peace on the planet, I think we could all use a little bit more. So I'll do my best to honor that presence. I'm going to put Apollo down so he can relax, and let's get started. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. If you don't know me, I would like to welcome you. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for showing up again. I think today's show is going to be really great, and we've got some really interesting information to come through, like I said. I separate each kind of segment out as follows. I'd like to begin with channeled messages, and the channeled messages come to me as I meditate. Sometimes they come through dreams, and they also come through the act of automatic writing. And so today, a lot of it was actually coming to me as I showed up and was just letting things come through. So there's different ways to access your intuition. I really enjoy this part of my live readings because it's just a direct connection to my guides, to your guides, and I believe that there's a lot of relevant information here for you if you show up. So anyway, first portion will be that psychic download. Then we'll move along to the Celtic Cross, and the Celtic Cross will allow whatever else needs to come through. A lot of times it's a little bit more tactical, showing the high points and then also some of the challenges that might pop up over the course of any given month. I believe in free will, so the reason we show up is to make those great choices that can bring you onto a path of least resistance, right? So I'll try to set you up for that path of success, if you will, through the cards there. I then let the expanded forecast focus on specific areas like health, wealth, love, and destiny. So unlike other readers, I'm not going to put a love or a career focus in the center. It's just really messages from spirit. But then we'll look at those areas in the expanded forecast. And then in the second major segment of this reading, we're going to go a little deeper into certain things that will show up here. Usually there's a past or a present influence, and then I kind of do a wild card for the future. And then we'll meditate and integrate it. And like I said, today we're going to try to bring a sense of peace and calm to your life, maybe to the planet as well. Okay? So if I haven't already said this, you can use it for your sun, rising, and moon. If you're very well versed in your chart and all the different, where your placements are, you can also use it for other places like Venus, etc. You can watch on behalf of others. I welcome cross watching, and you can also show up anytime you want for this beginning portion, especially because there is always relevant information that's coming through for the people that show up in the room. Okay. Just a couple quick notes, and then we'll get into the channeled messages in front of me. First thing is I'd like to say thanks to my moderators for showing up. If you have any quick questions about where we're at, what's going on, how to get in contact with me, Maria and Dakota can help you out with that. If you would like to show support while I'm reading, you can do that by using this little, right next to the emoji, this little icon of the $sign. And this is a way that you can do what's called a super chat or super sticker. I don't answer questions in this particular reading. There will be some where I open up to questions. I do that on Instagram sometimes. I will state it if I'm doing that. Otherwise, it's a general reading, just like this one is. But what the super chat will allow me to do is know that you like what you see, and also helps me continue to buy new supplies. I'm using a deck today that I don't always use. It's Revelations, I believe. So stuff like this is a courtesy of all of you that will help. This one, actually a friend gifted me, but there's a couple of decks today. This one is one that I purchased with your supplies. It's one of the Kyle Gray ones. And also, let's see, there was one more here today that I got with yours. I believe this one as well. So thank you for continuing to support me. I have 2 or 3 coming through. So the next couple signs I'm going to be using new decks. As you guys continue to support me, I can give you that right back, and I appreciate it. All right, let's get going here. The first thing that came through here in your channeled messages for the month of February was the image of a snail. I'm going to show a few different things, but one thing that I'd like to show you is I have these jumbo Rider-Waite Smith cards, which are fun here. This is the 9 of Pentacles. If you look smack dab at the bottom, there's this little tiny snail, and it often gets overlooked. So whenever I think of the snail or the snail comes to me, I'm now kind of always brought to this particular card, which is a great card, by the way, because it shows independence, self-sufficiency, basically a sort of substantial amount of growth and independence coming in the future. But people miss the little snail at the bottom, which is showing slow and steady wins the race, and slow and steady is also what kind of helps you arrive at this bounty that's in front of you. So sometimes we look at people around us and we kind of think, when is it my turn? When will something wonderful happen? It's already happening. It's already unfolding. And we're going to talk about that here. So let me just, again, review. We've got the spirit animal today, which is the snail, or insect in this case. What the snail is also showing me for you is that there are contrasting energies that are at work this month. I would say rapid external growth, and then for some of you, a slower internal or more subtle internal change. So this can actually sort of give you the seesaw effect, or it's a little nauseating, like what's going on? Around us, it seems like every moment when you turn on the news, there's something, fantastic or terrible happening. And then sometimes we look at our life and it's sort of like, what's going on? Where am I at? And so what we're seeing is, again, rapid global changes, slower internal changes. But the slower internal changes are like the snail. It's creating that sense of stability, understanding, introspection, and hopefully giving you a firm foundation. Even while the foundation of the world is kind of moving around, your internal foundation is getting, hopefully, stronger. And if not, this is time for you to be more present and work internally and tune out a little bit of what's going on externally so that you don't get distracted. Because we can't afford the disorientation. A little bit of disorientation is good because it wakes you up, but then it's really there to sort of help you figure out, wait a second, why do I feel this? What should I be focusing on? Like I said, the progress can be happening beneath the hood or beneath the surface, but you don't always see it or feel it. It doesn't matter how fast you get to that final outcome. It's just a matter of continuing to work on it. And so to that end, stay focused and move one little step each day, just like that snail. It's eventually going to get across that card, but it's taking its sweet time and it's enjoying everything. And so your movement can be sometimes akin to that little snail. But this is the true energy that's happening here, as long as you keep working on yourself. So for those of you that have gone through like 12 years of primary, secondary, high school, all of that, that's kind of like what this is. You have to go through all of that, and it feels like it's taking forever. Then when it's done, it feels like it went in, like a snap, and it's sort of like, how did that happen so quickly? It's just perspective. And so this is a reminder to keep working, because before you know it, you're going to actually see that rapid change happen. And you're going to think, really, time is an illusion. So if you just imagine you're doing what you need to be doing and everything is happening, that trust is going to kind of push it a little bit further, a little faster in your mind. The snail is, to me, also a great representation of the hermit. When you think of a hermit crab, it basically takes other shells, and that's its house, right? Or the nautilus. And there's a lot of animals that live in that sort of hermit type environment. So if we think of the hermit stage in general gives us a chance to reveal hidden potential, right? Sometimes we don't know who we are until we start to explore, all of the sort of inner workings of ourself. Last night in my dreams and intuition, my dreams particularly, I should say, what I was seeing was moving down the spiral, kind of going into the middle and lower dimensional work that some of us don't always do, myself included. But as I was looking through that, I was seeing that there were places where you were feeling like you needed to defend yourself or protect yourself. I was seeing like guard dogs at the entry ways. I saw that there was it was almost like this big parking lot that never ended. And I thought, okay, where are you going? That would be my question for you. And what are you afraid of, like, protecting or trying to kind of hold off? There's a little bit of work being done, just like that shell. There's a spiral. It feels like some of you are going back to the center, back to the core. That's the beginning when you look at a seashell. And I'm going to show you like a snail or nautilus shell, and you'll see that in a moment. So I think some of you are getting to the heart of the matter, and maybe there's been a lot of distraction, but you have to kind of go back to the center, and that requires going inward a little bit, which can be a little scary. But it can also be amazing, because you can find your hidden dreams. You can also see what's triggering you emotionally, hidden talents, all the things that you maybe had put in that box and locked up and said, I'm done with that. And sometimes we surprise ourselves and think, oh yeah, I really did enjoy this as a kid. Why did I stop doing that? I don't know. This is a chance to kind of go back into that toy box of gifts and amazing things that we all have, and do something with it now in the present. I want to show you some pictures here of the golden mean and also how it kind of maps to a snail. And you don't have to understand too much about the golden mean or the golden ratio. For those that are mathematically inclined, it's sort of this, it's this equation. But what it looks like in nature is you can kind of trace that golden mean on top of things like the seashell, right? You can also put this on top of other things like spiral galaxies. So like the rose bush here, yeah, spiral galaxies at the top. Let me pull this up. This picture is amazing. So this is a better one. So see all the different kind of golden ratios in nature, right? So the snail is actually a symbol of the pattern with which we all are kind of a part of here. And it's basically showing you that you are not beholden to change. You're an active creator of that. And there's a divine pattern at work in your life. It's that golden ratio. In my book, I talk about the Fibonacci series or sequence, and that's kind of connected to this as well. Things aren't as random as they seem. So if things are going on around you and you think, well, why is this going on? Or, I just feel like it's all out of control. There's a pattern to the chaos. Even on this planet right now, there's a pattern to the chaos that's happening. And we're spiraling like the galaxy, and we're going fast. If you ever notice, like it's very compressed at the beginning of a seashell, but then it starts to move outward. And I feel like for many of us, as we're doing that, like going through that spiral that you see, it's sort of like, why is it moving so fast now? It's just because we're all kind of in that outward one. We've gained momentum, right? And so as you move at that faster pace, sometimes you just feel like, how am I going to do this? You're going to be fine. You have to kind of understand that you are driving. And so if you don't like where you're going, shift your direction a little bit and also slow down. That's why the snail was coming through. If you need a moment to kind of figure out what I want to do, what's making me work, is my heart into this? We're going to be talking about this. I think that's really, really important. So take time right now to appreciate everything that matters. If you're one of the folks that is still looking for work, and there's a lot of folks right now who are displaced even. Maybe you're doing a job and it's not your main job. That's fine. First of all, congrats for finding something as an interim job. Don't get sort of disgruntled because you're feeling like, but I'm here and I need to be here. Again, there's a bigger pattern and you might actually be brought to something larger and more beautiful in the long run. I especially liked when I was looking at that and I saw like the spiral galaxy on it. To me, that's sort of a great symbol for what we're doing right now. We're kind of a collection of people that are all kind of randomly moving. I think if you can just take a moment to get some perspective, it's going to help you out right now. And little tiny writing at the bottom, I said there's going to be plenty of time later to get back into a rush and sort of, we were in a really strange pace on the world, traveling a lot, working a lot, running. What this did was throw a big monkey wrench into everything the past year and a half, basically. And it's saying, nope, that's not working anymore. That's one of the big sort of healing elements of what's happened is this is broken. You're doing too much with this. We're going to just shake it all up. And so on some level, that's what the guides were doing. It's not a lot of fun, but there is a general bigger purpose to it. And that was the message that I got. Let me see if there's anything else that I tapped on here that we should look at. I think those are the main things, but just sort of seeing that overarching pattern. You can do a Google later for golden mean or golden ratio, and you can trace it over a lot of different things like paintings, just basically reoccurs in nature in different places that you wouldn't imagine. It's a kind of beautiful pattern that shows that math is also, I talk about love being the currency of the universe. If so, then math is the language of the universe, right? So love conquers all, connects all, and also helps bring everything in order. But math is actually probably how, if there's aliens out there, that you would communicate with them. You could show them that you understand math. So I'm not a big math fan, but it's kind of cool. I like science. I like astronomy as much as astrology. So things like that fascinate me. And it helps on days like this where you think, what's the purpose? There's always a purpose. There's always a pattern. And that's what the snail was teaching us today. Okay, let's shift into something that's a little bit more practical, which is going back into when I was kind of going into the middle and under energies, under dimensions. I saw that it was important for you to stand your ground because I saw these guard dogs and I'm not really afraid of animals. So I just I waited a moment and then the energy of the animal kind of melted and then they were approachable. And what I think is that sometimes we're all kind of like in that guard dog mode where you're kind of protecting yourself and just trying to show like, hey, don't mess with me. But the other animal was actually very approachable once I broke through the barrier or the fear that it had. So I would say hold your ground and face fear or frustration. I have my main character in my book face a personification of fear, basically a god that represents fear. And it takes on many faces, which I think fear does in everyday life. It can show up as a person, a place, a thing. It can show up as a dream. It's a shapeshifter, just like I thought death would be. So what we have to do sometimes is look at that face of fear that's in front of us and decide, is it showing me a facet of myself? Is it showing me something that I need to focus on? And once you understand it, then you can conquer it just by saying, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm taking that energy back. I'm not going to feed the fear. You can use energy like compassion to disarm people around you that are in a lower frequency. So instead of fighting, just try to show them a little bit of love, hold some space, or you can just walk away. You just don't have to engage with like agitated energy, and agitated energy just escalates. So it'd be better just to walk away. That's my experience. And or reset a time to come back and say, it feels like we would benefit if we just from like a night, let's sleep on this and let's come back tomorrow. I really care about this, but I need to do some research, etc. Speaking of your heart, speaking of compassion, do you feel a connection to who you are, what you're doing, who you're with, all of that? If not, it's time to recalibrate and listen to your heart and really figure out, like, what do I want? Why is this? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? So instead of soothing that with alcohol or food or Netflix, all of those things are fine in moderation. But instead of kind of like putting a bunch of stuff on top of it, feel it out. If you're really sad, if you're really happy, if you're really anxious, go in there for a second and think, why? And what do I need to do before I watch something on Netflix so that I can feel better? So the other piece that I'm getting with this is what a great teacher of mine told me when I was not feeling like a job that I was working at. It wasn't the last one, it was one before that. But she basically said, don't do anything half-hearted, because it is a representation of your energy, and that's how people are going to remember you. You're also doing yourself and the people that you're working for a disservice. So if you're in a relationship, if you're at a job, if you are helping somebody and you're just not feeling it anymore, it's time to go inward, which is what it was being represented by, kind of like going in that parking lot or going into the lower and middle dimensions. Go into the center of your shell, your seashell, and think, what is it that I'm hiding? What is it that is holding me back? What's anchoring me here? And you have to kind of fix that and then decide, do I stay or do I go? If you decide to go, I actually feel like it's a great time to take a leap of faith and try something new, even amid all of the stuff that's going on in the world. As I've been saying consistently across all readings, I think this month, change, you have permission to make that change right now, more so than ever. Nobody's going to judge you the way they used to, because everyone's doing their best to just kind of like survive, right? And get along. So this is okay. If you need to make the change, great. If you need to make a clean slate and walk away from something, that's also okay. So the next message that I got was sort of like this ghost ship that I was seeing. So I feel like some of you could have a figurative or literal kind of ghost from the past. Don't be afraid of this, but it could be something like a person that you haven't talked to in a while, and all of a sudden they pop up on your Instagram feed or Facebook or whatever feed. They just pop up, or you see them at the grocery store, or you get a call out of the blue. Someone or something is gonna surface. You could also have like dreams about someone that you haven't thought about since you were a kid or school, and years later you're starting to kind of like fixate a little bit on that. So that person is coming through not to haunt you, but to help you release a pattern. If you happen to have a visitation in dreams from like a loved one, that's also someone that's probably trying to release some karmic energy or help you see something right now. When we go to the other side, like, it's not like this is the misconception in a lot of traditional religion, that you just go up into a pearly gate in the sky and hang out. You continue to work on yourself. The minute you stop being present in this body and go into spirit, you're going to be in your life. You rest a little bit, you go into a life review, and then there's a choice in how and what you want to do next. And a lot of people choose to do work. They're going to do some out-of-body work, helping other souls and helping their family to release some of the karma and to fix the lessons that they didn't learn in life, kind of like what we saw in the Christmas Carol with Marley when he comes to Scrooge, basically, Jacob Marley. So you have a chance to set things right. And unlike Marley, you're not doomed to sort of go into the, forever and ever with all the chains. We build and we break those chains. We do it every day. That part I agree with, but I believe we can also unshackle ourselves after we go. So one thing that you can do is to bless your ancestors, to bless your relatives that have passed, pray for them to get to the next level, whatever that means in your religion or your spiritual practice. And by doing so, you actually take some of the weight off your shoulders. So whenever we pray for our ancestors and those who have passed, then we're actually kind of helping ourselves and all future generations. So tonight, light a candle, say a prayer for someone that you care about that's on the other side, wish them well and help them. Like if you say that prayer, that's like a spotlight beaming out on the other side, and it means so much. So one little prayer, one little candle, you're going to sleep better. As I said, rather than being afraid, face whatever's coming through and integrate the message or the lesson. And if you feel like you're going in circles, back to the sort of like spiral thing that has been a common theme today, just come up and get some air, look around a little bit and figure out, like, again, tuning into your heart space and looking what's around you. How did I get here? Do I like where I'm at? And do I want to keep doing this, or do I want to go in another direction? Because you can go in another direction if you want. Every choice is a chance to do better. You have to believe that, and you have to believe that things are possible, change is possible. And if you do that, I feel like you're going to have this great sense of power, and you're going to make some progress in your life. I think it's important, however, to take some accountability and also make time to feed what makes you happy, your passions, your dreams, your aspirations. Those are just as important as your obligations. We are not machines. I mean, we're kind of like this. We are machines, but we're not sort of mechanized, and we're not programmed like that. So what you have to sort of realize is we require love and happiness and rest and fun. And so balancing everything out, I think, is going to be really important for you. And make time. You can make time to do things that are important. You can do this if you have a family. You can do this with children. So a lot of times when I was studying yoga, I would see that there would be some really well-behaved kids that would come to classes, and the parents would be teaching them how to hold their poses and what it was about, and they were quiet during Shavasana. I was always amazed that you can bring your kids and your family into activities that you like, and you don't have to sort of feel like, I don't have time for this. You can integrate it. If you want to meditate, teach your kids how to do it. You're going to have to start with smaller amounts, like a 1-minute meditation. You could say, let's be quiet and let's see what comes to our minds, and then we'll talk after. But you have, you can kind of like make it a game. You could give them some crayons and some paint or something, and say, paint what you saw, but don't tell me. It's a great way to have quiet time. So little tip, if you have some kids, you can practice meditation and make it like an art and craft thing. So say, it's a secret. You're going to meditate, you're going to keep it to yourself, and then you're going to express it, and then we'll talk about it. But you have to be quiet first. So that's how I would do it with kids. You never have to sort of like keep these things just to yourself. If you want to pass that on to people in your life, bring them into the practice too and have fun with them. And if they can't do that, that's something that you need to have a conversation about. Because if you're always supporting them and having fun with them and doing the things that they want to do, it's reciprocity, and that's a conversation that you can have. All right, well, let's take a look at the cards and see what messages are coming through for you this month. Again, you can use it for your sun, rising, and for your moon. By the way, just one last note on meditation. There's no right or wrong way to meditate. Taking a deep breath is meditating. Taking a walk in the forest is meditating. Drawing with crayons is meditating. Composing music. If you're basically not focusing on things and just allowing your mind to be at peace, that's meditation. So let's open up what meditation means. All right, one last shuffle. For those of you that hate reversals, there's no reversals in this deck. There are reversals, but everything that you see has an upright position. So that's something that's special with this deck, Revelations. I see a question about singing. Singing is a form of channeling, but it can bring you a sense of meditation if you're feeling joy with it. So depending on how you're singing, sure, chanting is a form of meditation. So yeah, I would say yes. Depends what you're singing, but yes. All right, let's take a look at everything that came through here. Interesting here. Okay, so I like this deck because there's also two sides to everything. All right, so your catalyst card is basically showing you that we have an angel coming through, and it's almost like, to me, it would be almost like Gabriel, or it could be holding like that Ace of Wands, that power of just kind of conceiving an idea. The card is reversed, so it's showing me things could also be coming from a different perspective, a different angle, and not to sort of judge what your creative process would be or how you typically work. Staying open-minded is going to be important here, because there is no wrong way to connect. You know, there were questions here as I was pulling cards about, you know, does this constitute meditation? Does this? If you're being able to open your channel and connect to things, I would say, yes, it's meditating. And so this angel's coming through to basically say, hey, I'm guiding you. I'm showing you things. Are you listening? Whenever I get like High Priestess reversed or an angel kind of card reversed, it's showing me that we doubt ourselves too easily. And also we kind of overanalyze what a simple symbol could be. And so I feel like some of this is just saying, if it feels like you need to pay attention to this, you should pay attention to it. If it feels like you want to explore this, you should do that. Don't think your way out of something or away from something before you really give it a chance to kind of evolve. Let's go to the center card here. We have the King of Cups. He is, as I said, so the upright position would show a sort of like strength, power, and creativity. The reverse one is showing that you're looking at something else. It's kind of like your creative energy and your emotional energy is being pulled in another direction. This could be toward a new relationship. It could be towards some sort of a project. I see that you're starting to feel things like you're getting inspired from something that you normally wouldn't. So this isn't necessarily bad. But King of Cups reversed in a traditional sort of read would also indicate that you need to look at, am I getting a sense of fulfillment back? Is this inspiring me, or is this zapping me? Because in the case of like someone who talks to you all the time but doesn't ever give you a chance to talk, talks too much basically, or it takes too much, this is really about saying, yeah, but I need to receive as well on this. So you need to turn the chalice upside down and say, if it's already upside down, turn it right side up. Basically say, I'm ready now to receive. I need some help on this, or can you listen to me? And give that person a chance to show up. So I think balancing out the scales in a traditional relationship and making sure that it's give and take. For some of you, there's a new inspiration in your life, and I think that's great. We talked a little bit in the last reading that I had about the danger associated with obsession or fixation. So I would say just make sure that you're not letting anything else go, because this particular King of Cups is a little distracted, and he's kind of missing what's right in front of him. He's looking to the side. So I would say just don't lose focus, but you may have new sort of channels of inspiration coming through this month, and I like that. We have the Hierophant crossing that. Since it's crossing, it's neither upright or reversed. The Hierophant card is great because this is a chance for you to, when I see it, I can also say you could think outside of the box, because it's kind of like sideways on this. So I would say for some of you, there might be a better way to get something done. And if your boss, if your parent, if your coworker is sort of dead set on one thing, just maybe find your own way to show them if you need to. Just you listen to what they're doing, and then you can do a little bit and say, by the way, I tried this. What do you think? Sometimes that's better than asking if you can do it. You might have to like ask for apologize later, but sort of give it a try, because people that are very frustrated or very sort of, I should say, stuck in one way of doing it can get frustrated if you come to them and try to change that. But if you just explore something, say, hey, you know, you had a really great idea here. I built upon it a little bit and tried this. I like it. I think like if we could do the two of these things together, there's something really great. Kind of get them involved in it and maybe even help them feel like they were a part of it. And I think that's going to be part of the magic there. But making and breaking cycles and also making and breaking new habits are going to be important with this Hierophant card, because when it's on its side, it means that you can do anything that you want. There's not just one way to get to the finish line. Two of Pentacles upright, work-life balance. Also, when we're looking at overall money and time sort of expenditures, you want to make sure that you're not sort of stretching yourself too thin, right? So just keep a handle on everything, and notice that there are other sort of implied pentacles that are flying around this person. So things are not as limited as they seem. If you notice that there's all these tiny little spirals going around this person. So this to me is showing that you're resourceful and making the best of what you have. And you can actually make it grow. So through balance, through like what you would see in the Six of Pentacles card is kind of in this Two of Pentacles, saying I'm going to do a little bit of this, but not all of this. And that's going to be important. So saying no, having limits, and taking one or two things and really kind of pushing them up and allowing those to grow. That'll give you a lot more. Okay. We have the Perseverant Nine of Wands card in reversed. And in this particular one, what I see here, if we looked at the upright position, we see someone who is just sort of steadfast and strong. With this one, it feels like there is definitely that energy of I have to push a little bit. And that's definitely a part of Nine of Wands. The reverse piece of it can sometimes show that you're feeling pushed down by other people. So are you pressured in your work environment? Are you pressured in your relationship right now? Is there something going on where you feel like you are being asked to do something that just doesn't feel right? The Nine of Wands is as much a card of pushing through as also fighting and standing up for yourself. Sometimes we only see that with the Seven of Wands, but the Nine of Wands has that too. It's sort of like, you know what, I've been around the block a few times and I'm not going to do this. And I'm not afraid to stand up to you. So if you're feeling pressured or too much pressure, say no. Again, balance things out. And then also make sure that your point of view is heard. Okay. We have Temperance, which is also kind of like the angel that we saw here at the beginning. So you're being guided to do the right thing. And Temperance often has an angel in it. So I would say for you, understanding how to convey things in the right way, not getting overly excited. Easier said than done, right? There's certain times of day that are better to have a conversation. Probably not like the first thing when you get up in the morning. Probably not if you had nothing to eat and there's like a lunch meeting with someone and you're taking away their lunchtime. Or if it's after hours and you're contacting someone and you know that's their time with their loved one or their family, or to be to themselves. Expect those times to be more agitated. Try to find a good time to have the conversation that you need. And in your own life, Temperance is a lot like the snail that we saw here in the Nine of Pentacles, which is basically just saying one little step at a time, because Temperance normally shows 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on the ground. It's also, to me, a card that I associate with April. Usually you'll see like an iris or a lily or some sort of a spring flower in the background. Even if you're not in a part of the world that April is spring, like Southern Hemisphere, it still can kind of be associated with that month. So for me, anyway, it's indicating that between now and April, there'll be some pretty significant changes. And it's just important to keep taking a step towards that each and every month, right? All right, so we've got the King of Pentacles card. It's in reverse. And the interesting thing, I really like how they showed the reversed king at the top. We see someone here who maybe is really good at what they're doing, but not interested anymore. Or it could be a relationship where it's kind of gotten long in the tooth, so to speak, where you're used to one another and you've built a great support with one another, but you're not connecting. There's no spark, right? And it could indicate someone in your life as well who has gotten complacent or too comfortable. And so this King of Pentacles is here to shake things up. You want to be a lot more active, like the upright king, taking a look at things, listening, engaging. And if you're feeling like either this is you or this is someone around you, then it's time to look at what I was talking about earlier. Is my heart in this? Why don't I want to do this? Why don't I care? Why am I not feeling like this is something that matters? So the King of Pentacles here is showing you that it's time to really evaluate how much you care about someone or something, and then decide if it's fair to continue engaging in that. Now, as someone that might be in your life, the King of Pentacles reversed would be a person who is either unwilling, incapable, or unaware of giving more, or the fact that they're not giving enough. They tend to focus a lot on themselves. As an aspect of your own personality, what it's showing me is this might be a really good time for you to work on training, like going back to school or something, going to therapy if you want to go in that inward cycle, since as I saw the seashell again, it's like that very center point. That's the beginning in a seashell. So some of us have to go back to how it all started. So it's learning about yourself, learning about things that you care about in your life, learning about, you know, going to school, getting trained, etc., or trying to get someone else to see you. Because there could be just a relationship breakdown because the two of you are in that introspective hermit mode. So the King of Pentacles is saying, wake up, get engaged, learn, and then start to participate with those around you. You have a lot of reversals this month, but that's okay. I picked the right deck for this. So the Knight of Cups here, the interesting thing with this, in the upright position, it means I'm ready, I'm willing, I want to receive. And we see that beautiful seahorse, which, by the way, is probably one of my favorite divine masculine symbols, because it's one of the few animals where the male actually carries the eggs. And so there's this cool symbiosis between male and female, and it's a divine masculine that is actually able to nurture and help things. But anyway, so part of this is basically breaking down toxic masculinity. It's also about being really ready to receive what's coming in to your life. But with the reverse, we see someone here that's a little bit bored again, right? I'm not sure if I want this. And that's not a bad thing. It could also be I'm picky. This isn't enough for me. So for you this month, this is in your ego. And we literally have the person kind of crossing their chest and thinking, I don't know about that. This is a self-soothing sort of thing where you're uncomfortable and you're like, if I do this, I'll feel more secure. So focus on your your security, focus on your heart, and are you feeling it? Because you're protecting that heart space as well. And then if it doesn't feel good, don't accept it. Don't get pushed into it, because the Nine of Wands is that pushy card. You actually see this person forcing that towards someone else, and this person is thinking, I don't think so. So if there is a contract, if there is an energy in your life and some sort of decision in front of you and you just think, nah, that's not what I feel, then honor that. It's okay. You can be the picky king or Knight of Cups that we see here, okay? We'll talk about relationships in a second, because there's a lot of cups coming through for you. So I do feel like this is a month where you have to focus on emotional stability, emotional just sort of peace of mind, and then also relationships in general. So I'll definitely give you a love mini read in here as well. But let me just get through you, and then we'll pull in other people. Environment, 10 of Wands. It's time to move on for some of you. The 10 of Wands is reversed, so there's a couple of blocks or a couple of barriers. And you might need another person to help to make this happen. This 10 of Wands is a little complicated. It feels like some of you have gotten embroiled in, or sort of like there's an intricate sort of pattern between you and someone else. So if you've worked together for a while, lived together for a while, and you are now in the process of going on a separate or divergent path, it doesn't happen overnight. And that sort of uncoupling, decoupling energy takes a while. So don't feel bad if it's a little bit of work, or if you're getting triggered emotionally. To me, that seems like it would be a natural state after what I'm looking at here. The good news with 10 of Wands is typically you're almost there. 10s are like graduation cards. So don't give up, keep pushing through. We got a 9, then we're going towards a 10 in the environment. I think, again, as I'm looking at this, I actually see someone else that may hold the missing piece or the key that you need to finish it up. So don't try to do it all on your own. Reach out for some help and ask for some help in kind of removing some of these obstacles. I think it can happen. 10 of Wands can be a move. It can be a decision to release something. It can also be a decision to start something new. But you're not 100% there. You have to finish up right now. And I feel like this could indicate like a quarter year for you. So again, going back to the Temperance card, patience, and probably by like March or April, you're in that zone. Okay. We have a Page of Cups in hope spheres and possibilities. Love. This is love if you want it. And this is also receiving some good news. Pages are usually showing that something good is coming to you. So we need some good news, right? It's been a crazy couple of months, couple of weeks, couple of hours. And so this is saying, start to expect that good news and be ready to receive it. It's interesting if it's reversed, you kind of see her going towards it. But when it's upright, it's like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's bring it in. So I feel like it's okay to be a little bit picky, because for many of you, there is something that's better or more suitable or more suited for you that's coming in. And that's what we see with this. And before I do the little mini love read, I want to look at another confirmation of new beginnings. So we have the Fool card. It's reversed. There's not a major difference between the two. The main thing, if you look at it upright, is he has the knapsack. There's a little butterfly. He's engaged with and embracing that change. When it's reversed, we see a sense of, I don't know if I can do this. And it's almost like, oh my gosh, am I going to fall? There's the fear of failure that's holding you back. Little tiny guy in the background that's falling down. So, and then also all these little paper people, right, connected. So there's a fear of the connections. And on the other side, those connections are gone. It's just paper. It's kind of like you've been made whole again, right? Because in order to make those little cutout people, if you've ever done it, you kind of like fold the paper and cut everything out, and then you bring it out and it's expanded. So I feel like this is almost like you taking back pieces of yourself in order to make that change. And sometimes people in our life take away our confidence, take away our hope, take away our sort of feeling of self-love. So you're going to pull all of that back. You're not going to be worried about the change. I didn't get the tower as a part of this, but there was like a little mini tower in that Fool card. So don't be afraid of all the things that could go wrong. Think about how this could improve your life. Almost every move that I've ever made has been a beneficial one. There's been some that are better than others, but it's a new start. It's a chance to try things differently. And it's really a great chance to completely change your energy. Everything will flow differently when you make a move to a new job, to a new relationship, to a new house. So maybe embrace the energy of that move instead. And I didn't even see it until I looked at this card again, but we see a little tiny baby at the center of this flower, right? If I turn it upright. So just like the Sun card has that rebirth in there, that's really what this is saying, is a chance to start again. Okay. I will get to love. It's the third card here, and then we'll go into that. Let's start properly looking at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and we'll get some additional insights. Let me just take a drink first. Okay. We have perseverance. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to, and yet the card is reversed. So by the way, there is a retrograde that's popping up at the end of January, and some of that's coming into February. So it makes a lot of sense to have the reversals. I get some comments sometimes in the, when this is later, like, you're not shuffling enough. Trust me, I've shuffled these decks. If they're reversed, they're meant to be reversed. And it's kind of like saying, stop the alphabet at the letter K or something like that. You want to allow for reversals and not actually react to that. If you're triggered, there's actually something you should probably be paying attention to in that. So when I see this, this is saying don't give up. Perseverance is saying you're doing it, keep pushing, this is the right way. This is saying I'm a little bit worried, I'm a little bit afraid, like we saw with that tentative Fool, right? And so this is basically saying exactly what the caption is iterating here. I know what I can do. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to, but for some reason I'm distracted. So don't go into that energy of the reversed Fool. Think instead, I can do this, I will do this, I am doing this. There's no choice but me to finish what I've started. So keep in that energy and you're going to be okay. When it comes to health, don't give up if you're trying to make a change. Let me scan the cards really quick and see if I can get some additional messages about health. I think one of the main things with all of the Cups cards, we've got King of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the Page of Cups. All that we're missing is the Queen. That's a family. When you have that many and you almost have everyone represented, it can be a family. It can also be a family with someone new that's coming in, because we have the two different, a king that's not part of that group. So for some of you, when we're looking at health, a relationship is thrown into a sort of tailspin or an interesting place because somebody new is coming into the picture. Try to welcome them. because it's hard to be the outsider. Let them show up, let them prove if they're good or bad, and then decide how you want to approach that. The Fool is saying this is a new beginning. This is something that's been building up for a while. So I feel like some of you could be in that new relationship. And also for some of you, this can indicate even like a same gender relationship here, because we have two kings. It can be two men, two women. I usually don't read it gendered, but I do have the Hierophant card here too, which is showing me that these are kind of like tied. It's two of the same. So for some of you, there could be a coming out, or there could be something like that that is shaking things up a little bit. For the rest of you, it could be two very similar energies that they're strong. Like I like when I get two kings or two queens. So we're kind of going into love. I'm gonna, I'll do more of that in a second, but it's affecting the emotional state because there's tension. Have you ever noticed like you kind of, it's like two horns kind of coming together here, like, you know, what is that with antelope or something like that, like when, you know, you're fighting. So I feel like you can kind of get bullheaded here, or bulls, yeah. You just need to be careful with that. Other health notes that I would say is take a look at your back. The 10 of Wands is not as bad as the 10 of Swords, but what it can show me, you can even see it here in this card. There can be spinal pressure or a disc issue that's going on for some of you, and you want to be cognizant of that. Also make sure that you're not drinking too much caffeine, too much sugar, too much alcohol, because there's a lot of cups coming through. A gentle walk can do a lot for the mind, body, and spirit as well. All right, let's move along to wealth. And for wealth, we have unknown territory. You're exactly where you need to be. And that may be this sort of feeling of, I don't know where I'm going. Well, that's okay. And listen to your higher self. We have an owl and we have like a little bird here on the side. I don't know what kind that is. One of my avian friends out there can tell me. But basically what I see with this is listen to your heart, listen to your intuition, and try something new. This is the Fool to me. Walking and trying something different and not being afraid of that. So wealth, new job, new way of trying a path or some sort of a task in front of you. Just not being afraid of the unknown. We have the King of Pentacles in the near future and the Two of Pentacles in the past. So I do feel like you're moving towards abundance again, even if you're not there just yet. This is typically 3 to 5 months in the spread. And we have the Fool, which means you might need to move to get that new job, or you might need to travel a little bit to make this happen. Right now, that's probably not possible, but in the long run, there might be something involved with that. So I would say look at different locations, look at possibly moving or working out of state, or if it's remote work, you might be getting a job in another city or country, but working in your own. Okay. Now let's go to love, which seems to have wanted to come through many, many times here. We have the Innocence card. But it's reverse, which is basically saying I've learned what I need to. I'm not the same little kid that I used to be. And that's what we saw here too, is a loss of innocence, right? Little baby there. And then there's the Fool thinking, I'm afraid to take the change or the risk now because I've been burned. So one of the things here is that you can always regain a little bit of that playful energy, and you can try to just give it a try again. And I think that's what's coming through with a new partnership, because we're looking at relationships here. Let's now go a little deeper with relationship energy. I think it's really important for you, first of all, to feel a sense of balance. If you are emotionally, out of balance, if you are in your own life, if everything is chaotic, it's going to be hard to add the relationship stress to this, because one more thing and your back is going to break, is what I see with this, figuratively speaking. So you want to be careful. Then I also see a kind of, it's almost like two couples as well. We've got two kings, and then we have a page and a knight here as we look at this. So this could be this could be sort of an odd coupling here of, friends that probably wouldn't normally be friends. So you could be pulling into a group that's very diverse, a lot of different age brackets, and a lot of different types of interest as well. This represents you, though, because it's in the ego, and this also represents you, and it's both cups. And this is a child card, so this is the older, wiser you, and this is the younger you. I think one of the main things this month is about going back to the past and looking at any places where you need to heal yourself. The King of Pentacles can also indicate like a father figure or mother figure in your life, and one that was difficult to deal with because it was reversed. So I feel like for some of you, you're learning to find that independence. And it's interesting when you find someone that you love, because all of a sudden you start to like want them and need them a little bit, which can put you in this place of feeling, again, a little topsy-turvy, a little bit uncertain, so that's normal, I would say. And maybe you're just kind of reawakening a part of you that realizes I don't have to do everything on my own. I know that I can, but it's nice to be able to lean on someone. So I feel like new love can come into your life, but there's a little bit of integration that needs to be done. And you're not at a loss for choices either. And that's what this was reminding you, just to be picky, The energy of the future came through as Page of Cups. So a sort of youthful, playful, and definitely someone energy, but someone that's also interested in you. So I don't feel like you should have to try to force anything. So if it doesn't work on a date or an interaction, that's enough. You don't have to try to, don't second guess yourself. That's a blessing. You know that you don't have to waste time. So I see choices there. If you're in a relationship, it's that kind of butting of heads that I saw with the two kings there. And the way to get out of it is we saw the knight and the page, which is to try to get back into playful interaction. So date night, movie night, trying to do something fun, getting out of your comfort zone and trying what they like, and likewise, they try what you like. Do something that's not structured, and I think that's going to be great. And if you're single and happy, then the most important thing for you is not to kind of give into pressure right now with the 9 of Wands and the 10 of Wands. Pressure to even like find somebody, but also if you're trying to find a new partnership, you might have to walk away from something if it doesn't feel right, and that's okay. So lots of messages depending on where you're at in your life. Final card, Destiny. Trust your talents in changing times. Hello, this is the card that's made for 2020, 2021, right? So we have your spirit fox here showing you have the skills to do it, and you're going to have to keep repackaging it. I feel like a broken record because I've said that probably 144 times, it feels like, at least in last year. So you have to keep shifting. You can do this. And that's what this is saying. Also go back and look at stuff that you didn't think you could do and try it anyway. You might surprise yourself. The truth in most jobs, I think any of us can attest to this, is when you get that job, there's always a sense of, why did they hire me? Am I the right person? You feel like you're faking it a little bit, but you're not. You're showing up and you're giving exactly what you need to. They saw something in you. You should try to see it too. And if you can't see it, that also might explain why you're having a difficult time trying to break into a particular industry or get a different job, etc. So really go into your head and psych yourself into it and think, no, I know I can do this and I'm ready for it. And those are the main messages. Let's review it and then we'll go into the soul path and we'll dig a little deeper on some of this, okay? Okay, let's look at the channeled messages first, and then we'll, again, if you just joined, this is a quick review. If this is your first time watching, I just kind of quickly review everything before we go into the soul path so that we can see some additional connections. Spirit totem this month was the snail. Again, I actually like it. It's not something that we all go out and hug, right? But I like it specifically because of its function on the 9 of Pentacles, which is showing slow and steady growth, and also it takes time to get everything that you see in this card. I also showed you pictures of the golden ratio or the golden mean, where you can kind of take that seashell and overprint it over a sunflower, over a face, over a spiral galaxy. There's a pattern to everything, and that's what this was telling us. So the first thing is contrasting energies might be at play this month for many of you, giving you the sense of like, where am I going? Can I do this? That reversed fool that we saw here. This can cause, there's rapid changes that are happening around you with slower changes internally, causing disorientation for some of you. So rest assured that what you're doing matters and you are tracking towards your goal. The most important thing for you to do, though, is to keep in mind that change takes time and you want to stay focused on what matters the most and take a little step towards it every single day. The hermit stage, which many of you might be going through because I've also thought of like a hermit shell crab, is just basically a chance for you not to hide, but to discover. We did a meditation earlier this month with the hermit and the lamp and all of that. Basically, you're holding the insight that you already have, but you sometimes just need to realize it. So it's discovery. And what are you discovering? Well, a lot of things. Your dreams, what triggers you, hidden talents that you might be afraid to show because you're shy or you're afraid of rejection. You're never going to know if it's going to work if you don't try it. So I just encourage you to take that leap and see what happens. And also, perfection doesn't happen out of the gate. There's always going to be feedback, right? You'll just get better. That's all that matters. That pattern that I talked about, the golden ratio or golden mean, there's something bigger at play, and you're exactly where you need to be right now. You just have to decide what to do with it. You're not beholden to change. You're an active participant, and more importantly, I would say a creator of that change within your life. So feel like today you have the power to change it. Finally, take time to appreciate, if you are at a slower pace right now, the fact that you can slow down and enjoy things, and take that extra walk with your dog, play with your kids a little bit more, spend an extra hour in bed with someone that you love and just watch TV or something. Enjoy all those things. There's going to be plenty of time to get back on the treadmill and run like a crazy chicken with its head cut off. So enjoy right here and right now. This doesn't happen very often. Hold your ground and face whatever fears or frustration come across your path, and use compassion to disarm any of those lower frequencies. Love and understanding and holding space. It's so powerful with people that are kind of off kilter a little bit, as we see with this Fool card. Speaking of your heart, do you feel a connection to who you are, what you're doing, who you're living with, or who you're loving? If not, it's time to listen to what that heart space is telling you. Don't do anything half-hearted. It's a disservice to yourself and to others, and you could put all of that energy into making a really big impact somewhere else. If you want to make a change, as we saw with the 10 of Wands and the Fool, this is a great time to do that. There could be some sort of a quote-unquote ghost from the past, whether it's just an old flame, an old friend, an old thought, or literally you're kind of connecting with someone in spirit and they're coming through in dreams, meditations, or if you're skilled enough, maybe full body apparition, but really what they're trying to do is teach you a lesson. So integrate that lesson and allow for them to kind of move on to their next phase too. We can light the candle as well, like we talked about, and say a prayer. Rather than being afraid, just talk to them. That's what I do when I see something. I say, who are you? What's your message? Why are you here? If you feel like you're going in circles, come up for some air, look around a little bit and figure out why you're going in circles. Every choice is a chance to do even better. So believe that you can do that. Believe that you can change. If you don't think you can change, you're not going to change. Make time to do what makes you feel good. It's never too late to learn. It's never too late to start. It's never too late. That's something that I also want to kind of continue to say until it sticks to you guys. We see the angel card here bringing that torch of inspiration. It's reversed, saying don't second guess yourself. There are blessings and there are messages that are coming through. They're more subtle than you realize. It could be a sign on a billboard, a feather on the road, a thought that's in your head, a song lyric you hear on the radio. It could just be someone saying something that you haven't heard for like 20 years, and someone that you love said that. They're speaking through that person. So intuition and signs can come in every single broadcast format. It's not just in your head. How are you feeling? King of Cups is telling me that the sensitivity is definitely increased. The fact that this card is reversed is saying you need to make sure that you're not getting distracted and that you're not giving too much to others. There's more than one way to figure something out this month, and the Hierophant is a challenge to that. So you're going to have to think of a way to sometimes help people see things that they wouldn't see otherwise, which might even mean showing them. Sometimes, a picture's worth 1,000 words, or just seeing it, they need that. People don't always have faith. They're pragmatic, they're practical, and they want to see it. So maybe you're just going to have to show it, and you might win someone over. Don't spread your resources too thin, and don't get impatient. That's what we're seeing with the 2 of Pentacles and the Temperance card. 9 of Wands, you don't have to do this all yourself. And in fact, you shouldn't. And don't push too much stress into your body this month, whether you're carrying it physically or emotionally, because like the King of Cups here, that dam will break. So you need to kind of like spread that energy out, I would say, with more care than some of you are. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others. If you lose your temper, it's okay. We all do it, myself included. Go to the core of it. It probably isn't the person that you're yelling at, and it's probably not you. There's something else that's stressing you out. So forgive yourself, let it go. It's not even a matter of right and wrong. A lot of times it's just the stress. And when you can admit that, then it's going to be a lot easier for everybody involved. It's time for personal development. And if there's someone in your life that's too distracted to pay attention to you, do your best to give them space. But if they continue to do that, that's also kind of what we were talking about, where someone's not engaged enough. They're telling you subtly or non-verbally that you probably could put energy in a different different person or different situation. God, there's so much creative energy coming through with you this month. King of Cups, Knight of Cups, Page of Cups. To me, that could also be like 3 different projects that are coming through. It doesn't have to be people, because passion can be invested in multiple things: person, place, thing. So for some of you, you're just really pulled in a lot of directions because there's a lot that you want to do. So manage your time and energy wisely. Don't get caught up in some sort of crazy family feud or a 3-way sort of situation where you're put in the middle of a friendship, or maybe there's even a partnership and someone's not ready to step away from someone and you're getting involved with them. I just see some complications. Really take your time and try to get this tapestry sorted out so you're not in the middle of all of that, embroiled in the middle of it. Moving on, definitely a theme with the 10 of Wands and the Fool. There's a little bit of hesitation, so I feel like you need to pick the time. The main thing here is to be discerning and do what feels best to you. Don't give up. Enough said, especially when it comes to healing or moving forward. With the body, don't push yourself too much emotionally or physically. And don't overdo it when it comes to drinking or eating. Moderation is really the main message in health. In wealth, it feels like you're going to be pushed into something uncharted, unknown. So don't be afraid to take that leap. It could be really fun, and you won't know unless you try. For relationships, some of you might feel like, I don't know if I can trust again. I'm a little jaded. But if you assume the best of this new person coming in, unless they've given you a reason not to, then you might surprise yourself and you might have a lot of fun. So just think, all right, one more time. Let's see what this is like. You know, obviously listen to intuition. Don't do anything that you don't want to do. That's what we already talked about with the Knight of Cups. But I feel like innocence is something that you can reclaim on some levels. You can try again. The Spirit Fox here is saying you have everything it takes to survive. You have everything it takes to do something new. You just have to give yourself permission to give it a shot. All right, let's go deeper into the soul path. I'd like to take a look right now at, I want to look at the relationship stuff. There's so much coming through. So what's the message to successfully navigate relationships this month? Knight of Swords, open communication. Say it, express it, and do what you need to do. Take action too. Knights don't sit around and wait for things to happen. So I feel like this month, just showing an active and a sort of really present interest in making something happen is going to be important. And putting time on somebody's calendar too. I know that there's some people that are really busy and it takes a lot of work, but if you feel like you need to talk about something, you can get their time if you try. You could just say, this is something that's important. We need to talk. And if we don't, then I'm not going to try again. You know, you can kind of put it out there that this is not something where you're going to wait forever. So show them that you're really interested in that this is important. You could say, no, this is an important conversation. But most importantly, I think it's just about straightforward and honest and transparent communication between the two of you. Okay, fair enough. As a former sort of journalist student, I would say ask the tough questions with that. So if there's something that's on the top of your head or on the tip of your tongue, I think you need to express it and just say, before we move forward, I just have to ask you whatever it is that you need to ask them. So get that out, put the cards on the table and see if you're both in the same mental page. Okay, let's look at the hesitation about the move. What's the move about? We have the Seven of Swords. Okay, so the Seven of Swords here is about making sure that you can trust yourself and you can trust others. Some of you have been let down by people who were not accountable. So the Seven of Swords reversed here is showing me that it's probably transparent who you can trust. I think you've got what it takes this time to sort it out. And that journalistic energy of the Knight of Swords is basically, it's going to be you asking somebody, did we talk about this? Did you not understand this? I'm aware of what you're doing. Don't do this, or we're done. You can also kind of get rid of a contract if you need to. So that quitting could also be a decision for some of you, especially if you are in a company where Maybe they've promised you a raise or a promotion and they're just not coming through with it. Or, you were given time off and then they called you and they're not keeping their commitments to you. That's why the Fool gets triggered. It's your parachute option. So what is the move about? This is about you saying, that's the last straw. I'm ready now to go my own way and to try something new because I know I can do this, right? So don't be afraid to walk away, especially if the litmus test or the sort of deciding factor for you is if somebody has promised that they would do something but couldn't or wouldn't, or consistently just they don't, and they're not saying anything about it. And if you can't trust or lean upon that person, place, or organization, then this is your time to move forward and say, no, I deserve more than this, and I will find it one way, shape, or form. Okay, so expect that high quality from yourself and others. The last thing with the Seven of Swords is also just to be honest with yourself. A piece of it that gets missed a lot, but I've been talking about it this month. So if you know you need to do something, this is just holding you accountable to make the necessary change in your life, okay? You're given permission to do it because it's the right thing to do, because if you don't do it, then that ghost from the past will come back that I was talking about, and it's going to come up in some other way, shape, or form. Now let's just pull a wild card and see what else you need to know. Three of Cups. Okay, this is what I was seeing. It's a little messy right now. I feel like there's a lot going on with relationships. No matter how you look at this card, there's a lot. So there's really no upright or reverse with this particular card. What I would say is, if we look at it in its best sort of form, you see everybody connected here. So if you have a small group, a small family, and everything's going well, great. But there can also be competition with this. So I think the thing to remember is you work better as a team, and there doesn't need to be a proving of who's right, who's wrong. So I think smaller companies, smaller families, where there might be a little bit of attention, or sort of like someone trying to get someone else's attention. Even in those small groups, it can be even more important because it feels like, I don't know why, but there can be sort of like this feeling of who's the most important, who's leading this little group. And for you, there might be a need to break free of that. Three of Cups can also be unrequited love, or love that has complications or strings attached because there's a third party. So again, is another person separated but not divorced? Are they not ready to commit? Because when I'm looking at relationships and the Three of Cups comes through, it usually just shows dating, but not sort of being in a committed relationship. If you're in a relationship, this can also be a question mark for you. Like, am I happy? Is this where I see myself forever? Do I want to stay committed? There's a question of commitment coming up with this. And the Three of Cups is giving you permission to explore options and is asking you, are you happy? That's really what the journalistic message is from this card that will help you decide. Are you happy? Is this enough? What is it? What will be enough? Will it ever be enough? So you have to kind of go through all those questions. So if we pull all of these together, it is relationship energy coming through pretty strong for you guys. Honesty and transparency. At its core, I can break it down to 2 words. And then taking some action. Looking at habits and what's been going on and breaking any sort of bad habits, particularly with accountability. You need to be more accountable. Others need to be more accountable. And if that accountability and that trust falls short, it's time to move on. When you have a good thing, really celebrate it. The Three of Cups can be a good sort of card for that. Celebrate the little victories. If you're in a great relationship and you're feeling some sort of a question mark about like, why can't I go to the next phase? Since your symbol this month was the snail, you've got to go inward. It's about you. It's not about that person so much. So what do you need to do internally to work to make that a little bit clearer? So I think that you're being asked to put your relationship goggles on this month and look at these relationships. Could be boss, parent, sibling, or lover. But there's a core relationship where there's a question of competitive energy with someone else, commitment energy, or just sort of like general openness. Can we be open enough to talk about all of these things? And I think if you can focus on those core pieces in the main relationships in your life, you'll be in a better place. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Let's take a look at, let's do a meditation, actually. And before I do that, I just want to remind you, I'm going to actually pull an extra card at the end, and I'm going to ask after we meditate, because we need to clear the energy. I'll say, what can we do to temper the Three of Cups so that it's a positive and celebratory card? But we'll get into a meditation first. Before I do that, just a quick note that I would love for you to follow me on social media. So if you haven't already done that, take a look here. I do occasional Instagram lives, and I also will post reminders of all of these upcoming readings so that if you miss anything, you can go there and catch up and see what's going on. I am most active on Instagram, Facebook, obviously YouTube, and also on Twitter. Twitter has a slightly different handle. If you go to that link there, you'll see all of that. Plus, you can subscribe to my newsletter, which is free, and I only send once a month unless there's a major update. And anyway, that'll be a great way to connect. All right, let's meditate, and then we'll do that extra card, and then I'll talk a little bit more about some other ways that we can connect. All right, so for meditation, it only takes about 2 minutes, so I hope you can stick around. We're going to focus today on balancing things out. It feels like some of you have a lot that's going on with the Ten of Wands and with all the cups energy here. So I would love to kind of give you this ability to feel like you are free to decide and free to move, coming out of your shell a little bit, right? So let's just let the meditation take us where it will take us, right? And see what that is. All right. I'd like to imagine a morning meditation by the beach, since we were working with that aquatic, well, the snail's not aquatic, but I was talking about seashells and other things. So see yourself by the beach in the morning and imagine that you set out this nice blanket and the sun is just starting to warm up your face, warm up the sand, and dance upon the water. As you're looking at the horizon, you can see these little beads of energy tracing their way across the water, moving towards your heart space. And these little tiny orbs of light, almost like the bubbles that are crashing onto the shore whenever the water is sort of cresting. These little bubbles of light are actually starting to move around your body. With each time the waves come in, they're bringing some of the light towards you. And then it kind of crashes onto the shore, and this light wave is coming across you, a secondary wave of light and sound. So each time you are cascaded with this, you feel this sense of, it's kind of like this little scrubbing bubble energy. All the darker energy, all the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty starts to basically get washed away in this sort of light and seismic energy that moves over you. I want you to take a deep breath and imagine that you're pulling the light orbs into your body as well, and they're going to do some cleaning, clearing, and healing as well. We're in a time right now where there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of sickness, and pulling in that healing energy today was going to be part of this. So as you start to pull in the light, I want you to really feel it go into your lungs and then move into your bloodstream, and especially feel it in the heart center. And as you start to incorporate the light that's always been there and has always been around you, I want you to sort of really sit up tall. Imagine that you could step outside of your body, even your light body could step out and see your physical body. And I want you to take a moment to appreciate who you are and what you have to bring to this world. And if there's anyone in your life, living or dead, that has said or done something that has somehow chipped away at your self-esteem, chipped away at your happiness, this is your chance to reclaim that inner child that we saw. And this is your chance to become whole. Dr. Martin Luther King talked a lot about having a dream or a vision. He was one of the best sort of visionaries out there in that respect. So let's pull in your own personal dream. Is it a dream for yourself, a dream for the planet, for your children, for your inner child? I want you to hold it in front of you, just like you would see in the Two of Wands, and see what's possible. Understanding that until you can see the dream, until you can believe in that dream, it's not going to happen. You have to feel it, mind, body, and spirit. Dr. Martin Luther King did. You can as well. So I want you to really feel it and see it. And I'd like to add to this too that let's imagine that you can do it in peace, in harmony, and you can have abundance in all forms come towards you as you accomplish this goal or this dream. I'm going to play the singing bowl here, and I want you to feel your heart start to open up. You can imagine that beautiful spiral that I showed you coming out around you, calling in things and connecting you to the universe, including the spiral galaxy in which we all reside. And then we're going to do a little blessing for the planet before we get back and look at that clarifier for the Three of Cups. See your energy expand as I play this singing bowl. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Allow your light body to integrate back with your physical body. And imagine now that you've been given the wings to move towards whatever it is that you want. And let's take a moment to actually rise above this planet. See ourselves, see our purpose, see the pattern that's in front of us. Let's help the other people who didn't show up today awaken, and let's send them a blessing as well. So imagine that everybody that's in the meditation today and anyone that watches it later is capable of connecting and sort of creating this net of light across the planet and just beam a beautiful message of healing and hope towards any particular part of it, or just in general towards the center of the planet. And let's just pray for peace, that we can start to listen to each other, engage civilly with one another, to expect the best of one another, to step aside from differences, and to see each other for the soul family that we are. There is no major difference between each and every one of us, irrespective of gender, race, religion, language, place of origin, age, if I haven't already said it. They're just attributes that don't really affect the soul energy. So we'll get there eventually. There's some work that the planet has to do, but like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream too that we're going to get past all of this one day. Let's keep working. We've taken a few steps forward, a few steps back, but that's part of the journey of ascension. So we'll keep working, just like the snail. It's not done. We're not done. We're strong. And send that love and light towards the planet that everyone is going to get through this. All right? One last breath. Take your time now, drifting towards the planet. Imagine that you're just like this little feather, gently entering the atmosphere, gently coming through the clouds, gently going across the water, smelling the salt air, being lifted up towards the trees, towards the flowers, towards your body, which is sitting there on the sand. And allow that feather to come in through the crown chakra, bringing the lessons from the divine, integrating all of the work that we've done today, giving you a sense of levity and lightness to carry with you now and always. Gently open your eyes when you're ready. We'll look at one last card, and we'll wrap it up for today. All right, so basically this is about transparency. We have the Eight of Swords, but it's upright. And if you notice the reversed one, I'm sorry, it's reversed. The upright version would show blindfolds, but the reverse one is actually auspicious because you've taken them off. You're awake, you're aware. It's a good placement for this card. So this is a time to unshackle, to cut those ties that bind us to things that we don't need or we don't want, and to help other people do the same. To see past all of the stuff that's holding us back or holding us down, and to really sort of liberate. It's a card of liberation, right? So is the Fool, for that matter. So this is a time for you to liberate, and you should feel free. The answer to the Three of Cups energy is you should feel free. And it feels also like there's a sort of non-committal energy going on right now. So for those of you that might be trying to date at this point in time, it's a little tricky. Feels like people are distracted, that the energy and the focus is elsewhere. For those of you in relationships, it's about being more present and having the communication that you need. And if you're single and happy, you're still going to have to be discerning and really tune into people. Make sure that they're not in their own headspace. Okay. Let's wrap up here real quick, and then I will remind you of the upcoming readings here. First of all, speaking of that, January 31st, I'm going to be doing a reading on love, but also we'll look at the retrograde. I'll have to look at my calendar, but I believe it's right around that time. So it's an auspicious timing. So we'll do a little bit of both. As I said already, you can follow me here if you haven't already on social media. You can look at the link that I posted just a moment ago. And I did a recent Instagram live. I might be doing more of those. And I may also bring a little bit of that live energy to an occasional reading here, where it's more just like a fireside chat, if you will, not so much a reading. So we can just talk and I'll interact a little bit more. I don't do that in these generals, but I might do that because it felt like people enjoyed that. So keep an eye on my channel. This is a good time to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon, hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe. It helps people discover my channel. And so it's the single best way you can show love and appreciation, and it just takes a couple clicks. If you happen to be watching this on replay, you can use a new feature called Applaud, and that's a great way to give back. And if you've already given a super chat or would like to do that while I'm wrapping up here, I just want to say thank you. There's another way that you can help out, which is to click the join button. And Maria just posted a link to that. I'm going to post a link here to, sometimes people ask me if I have a PayPal. I do. I don't use it all the time, but there's my PayPal. And you can also join me on Patreon. Patreon is great because just like that membership link that Maria put out there, on Patreon, if I do have something like a Q&A coming up, I will give you a little bit of advance notice to make sure that your question gets in. So YouTube members and Patreon members get a little bit more access to stuff like that. And I appreciate it. Plus, you guys help me continue to get cards. Finally, all of this information, including my upcoming schedule, is on my website. And if you want to kind of take a look at my live schedule, here's a link to that. And also, if you want a different way to support me and you just enjoy reading, I have a book that's been out since October. It's called The Luminous Ones. It's available on a lot of retailers. There's actually even more on my website right now. I have it in paperback and hardcover, and you can also use it on like a Kindle or a Kobo device or an Apple book reader or even a Nook. It's basically on all major platforms right now. So if you would like to check it out, give it a look-see. It's great for people that enjoy science fiction or fantasy. So Lord of the Rings, Wrinkle in Time, Dune, that sort of vibe. It's definitely like an epic sci-fi fantasy. So I hope you enjoy it. And I just want to say thank you so much. It's been my pleasure and my honor to be present here today. Thanks again to Maria and Dakota for helping me out. Thanks to you for being present, sticking around for the meditation. I know we lost a few people, but for all of you that stuck around, that means a lot as well. And I will be back later this week. I'm always live on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays and Fridays. So we will be doing Capricorn Aquarius on Thursday and Friday, and then Pisces I'll be doing on Sunday. So by the end of this week, you should have all of your readings for February, and then I will join you again on the last day of the month for a collective, and I hope you can show up there, okay? Lots of love and light from me to you, and take care of yourselves. Have a great day, and for those of you that are celebrating the holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King Day, enjoy this day, do something peaceful, do something for yourself. Take care, everyone. Have a great one. Bye-bye.